All right. Hello, everyone. Looks like we've got some people rolling in here. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in on your Wednesday night with us. My name is Sophie, and I am the Student and Recent Graduate Engagement Specialist with the CSU Alumni Association. We are so thankful that you all are here joining us today. And before I turn it over to Nancy to kick off the presentation and content tonight, I just want to take a moment to thank all of our members. The CSU Alumni Association is very thankful for our members. So alums like you, alums, friends, former parents, community members, we are also thankful for your support, and it's what makes events like these possible. So a big thank you to all of our Alumni Association members joining us tonight. Before we kick it off to Nancy, I do just want to walk through a little bit about how this platform works. So if you are not familiar with YouTube, if you look below your screen and below our little window, there should be a comment section. The comments section operates pretty much identically to a chat feature. So go ahead and pop anything in there if you have any questions for us, any comments, anything like that, and we will go ahead and answer those as they come in. All right, well, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Nancy Patton to get everything started tonight.
Thanks, Sophie. So hello, welcome to a discussion about student loan strategies. I just want to acknowledge that this can be a challenging topic, and it's one where the information changes pretty frequently. So I'm going to go ahead and date this presentation. The fact that we are doing this on November 8th, 2023. So the information that you're seeing will be related to whatever's current at this moment in time. And I would normally ask you all what brought you to the class tonight. So whether it's that you're in the midst of paying your own student loans, or you're thinking about doing a loan for your child. But what we've discovered is that almost every time we offer this class, there are some people in all those categories. So we're going to touch on different things: avoiding student loans, the normal way student loans are working, and then what happens if you have trouble paying your student loans. So we'll go through all that tonight. Matter of fact, let me just share the agenda. We are going to cover some statistics about what's going on, and then move into those ways to avoid loans, then the specifics about loans, and we'll end with some resources that you can use to do further research yourself. Here's what's going on in the world of trends. There's a lot of student loans out there. It's surpassed credit card debt as far as a large sum of money that's out there being borrowed. Average amounts are up because tuition is up. And of course, that means the average monthly loan payment is higher as well. There's some other trends going on besides just the fact that there are a lot of loans happening. A lot of loans are happening to people who are older. They're not the 18 or 20-year-olds who are starting their undergraduate work. There's been a tendency to actually have loan balances rise even after you've been making payments. And part of that's due to the different payment plans that are in existence. And you'll see some other statistics there about how there are older borrowers. And part of that is related to a career reinvention, or during the pandemic, discovering that, I'm not as happy with what I've been doing. I need to advance somehow. I'm going to go get some more education. There is one other trend that we're going to mention there, which is that employers are increasingly recognizing that student loan payments are a challenge for their young workforce. And obviously from the previous conversation, some of their older workforce as well. So it is something that you can be watching for as you're exploring careers, and see if the employer you're considering is doing anything to help their employees with student loan payments. So that's just some general information about what's going on. And then the question always comes up, well, is it worth it? Why would I go into debt? Why would I pay all this money? And consistently, the statistics still come back that higher education does, in fact, provide workforce benefits, overall higher earnings, lower unemployment, and higher job satisfaction in general. So there's still a strong case for education having a good return on the investment you make for it. And then let's just talk about the fact that there's lots of different ways people are paying for it. Some of it is directly from savings. People have recognized they want to be able to help their kids maybe attend school, so they've started saving for that. And then a lot of people are concurrently in the workforce. I have a friend, a colleague at Canvas. She just announced today she's coming back to CSU for her MBA. So she'll be working and she'll be going to school so that you have that income to help you overcome the expenses of school. And then, of course, we want to explore options that everything we can consider, and we'll talk through some of those. But more and more high school students are realizing they can get concurrent enrollment. They can get credit before they college credit before they even leave high school. So there's some other things mentioned there. I don't know if we have anyone tonight who's watching from Weld County. If you are in Weld County, Colorado, please research Bright Futures. So it's listed there and it'll be on the resource slide at the end. But if you live in Weld County, please, please, please explore the Bright Futures program. And then there's some other ways there that people pay for school. And the final comment is something that we find we're really needing to stress. It is critically important that everyone understand that parental assistance to pay for college is a very personal decision. And although sometimes it may feel like everyone is helping their kids go to school, that isn't always true. It needs to be a very unique decision for you in your household, your family, about how much support is going to be given to help kids get through college. So those are, again, just some general comments about the situation with student loans right now and the situation with people going to college. And I do, there was a comment that someone has a high school student, so that is great. Hopefully some of this beginning part of the presentation will apply to the thoughts you're having about your student getting into this process. All right, let's take a look at, again, some of these strategies that people are using as they get ready to send somebody off to school. Good old cash. You're just plain saving money. Then there is a specialized savings account for education called Coverdell. It's an older style of savings account. It has the advantage of being easier to use for K-12 expenses, education expenses. But you'll see some other data there about that particular program, and I'm not going to dwell on it, just it's an option. And the same thing with 529 plans. 529 plans are probably the most common way people are thinking of a strategy for paying for school. And there are very specific situations that go with 529 plans. Like each state has a plan. There's different kinds. You can prepay or you can invest it. You can, it's very versatile. This is the reason it's the most popular plan currently, is that it has the most versatility. So if you are a parent looking at sending your kids off to school, it helps to start early. So if you help start while they're young, very young, but always this 529 plan is worth investigation to see if it's right for you as a way to pay for school. And then there are some very creative ways to pay for school as well. And again, I'm not going to dwell on these. We're just trying to stretch your mind a little bit that there are alternatives out there, both for parents and for students. So if you're thinking about heading back to school, maybe you've graduated, been in the workforce, you're thinking about heading back. Here, especially for the students, we see a lot of people who are using time in the military and then using their veteran benefits to go to school. There are a lot of employers who have tuition reimbursement programs. Again, something to consider if you've been in the workforce and you're thinking about going back, to look for an employer that has that. There are tax benefits. Don't forget to take full advantage of both credits and deductions when you're filling out your taxes. AmeriCorps service can help pay for school. And finally, if you actually work at a university, that can help because you may receive free tuition or reduced cost tuition, or your kids may receive that. So every university is a little different on how they set that up. But again, that can be worth research as a strategy. I have a friend, she really struggled, spent years trying to finish up her degree. And then she went and got a job at the University of Northern Colorado and was able to finish up her degree because she received some support from the university to attend the university. So keep all these thoughts in mind as possible ways to explore paying for college while still avoiding a student loan. Okay, if we're going to talk through how to pay for school, the four primary ways that people come up with paying for college besides their personal savings. These are the kinds of financial aid that you're going to go out looking for: scholarships, grants, work study, and then the loan process. And we'll talk just a little bit about each one of these. They kind of go from free to not free, and we always want to start with the free ones. So financial aid options, both grants and scholarships, are free. They do not need to be repaid. The difference between those two words, which sometimes people get confused on, is a grant is usually based on a financial need, whereas a scholarship is usually based on a skill set or a merit thing. You're a good athlete, you're a good student, you're a good artist. So there is not necessarily a financial need, but there is some merit quality in your student that is being recognized. So the grants come from a variety of sources, including the government. The Pell Grant is one of the most common free grants given by the federal government for students to attend college. And then scholarships vary so much. It is amazing. We joke that, if you're a redhead born on a Tuesday and you're going to teach underwater basket weaving in Norway, there's a grant, there's a scholarship out there. So there are very specific groups that want to have more students graduating in that field. So it might be an accounting association, and they need more accountants. So they're going to help you if your student wants to study accounting. Maybe it's something mechanical engineers, and there's a group that knows we need more mechanical engineers. So we're going to find some students who want to study that, and we're going to help them with a scholarship. Again, these are free. They don't need to be repaid, but you might have to go searching for them. A lot of different places that you can search, starting with your high school counseling office, and if you're already in school, the financial aid office. The next thing we want to mention that's free and is a great way to pay for school is work study. And when you apply for federal financial aid, Work study is one of the boxes you can check and say, yes, I'm interested in that. And then if you are offered that, you have the option of accepting it or declining it. Work study is traditionally a university job. It's a job on campus, and it's designed to meet student hours and student versatility. And it's a way to have income so that you can buy pizza, a way to have income while you're going to school. Been around for a long time. I confess that I participated in the work study program way back when. And then loans are our last option because loans are not free. They need to be repaid. But these are the 4 main ways financial aid will be offered to you. They have deadlines to receive this financial aid. So right now, the application process for FAFSA, the free application for financial student aid, you want to get busy filling those out. It is strongly recommended you do the complete your FAFSA application as soon as possible, because some of the schools will run out of money, and you want to get that application in quickly. It opened October 1st. We're going to strongly recommend, if you haven't finished a FAFSA and your student is going to attend school next year, that you get right on that and fill that out. They will look and ask questions about your income, your savings. They're looking at 2 years ago, your tax return numbers. That's the information they'll base the aid on, is that information from 2022 if you're applying for 2024 aid. So you don't have to accept all of the aid that is offered, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But basically, you complete the FAFSA and then you receive offers from different universities, and you make your choices on which one you want to accept and how much of that offer you want to accept. Most student loans these days, a high percentage of them, are from the federal government. There is a small amount that comes from private sources, private lenders, but most student loans are through the federal government. The main reason for that is they have the best pricing. So it's just they're subsidized loans. The interest rate is much lower than the private market. There are specific loan types, and those are listed there. Those first ones that say direct, they are all from the federal government. If you are still paying off loans from 12 years ago or so, it's possible that your loan name was a different kind of student loan, but these are the names of the loans that are available at the moment. And we'll be talking more about those. I am going to constantly refer to studentaid.gov, studentaid.gov, as the most accurate source of current information, because these things do change. The rules change, the names change, different expectations about the loans change. Here is a very big overview of the different kinds of loans and why you'd pick one or the other. So for instance, if you're going to go back for your master's degree, you can't choose a direct subsidized loan. Those are only available to undergrads. If you're a parent, there is only one option on here for you to get a loan to help your child attend college. So the different qualifications of who can get this loan, is it based on need, or is it just a private or just an application? What's the interest rate look like? These all qualify for being in one of the government repayment plans, and we'll talk more about those. But you have to be in one of these loans in order to qualify for some of the special repayment plans. And then you'll see the other things, the other notes. Is interest accruing? Is there a credit check? That kind of thing. These are the current names of the federal student loans and who they are designed to help. Interest rates on the student loans change. They change on July 1st every year. These are the current interest rates and current fees for each of those kind of loans. If you got into a student loan a couple years ago, when interest rates were nice and low, then your loan rate you were paying several years ago is lower than what you see on the screen today. They have gone up over the last couple of years, following what's happening in the world of lending. And so just so you know, if you did get a loan a couple of years ago, your interest rate's probably lower than what you see on the screen. This is the way it's all supposed to work. When we think about, oh, I'm going to get a student loan. So you do your FAFSA, you fill out your forms, and in return, you get a student aid report. It tells you the numbers that you've submitted and how things are looking on your data. And then the schools give you award letters. And you look those over and go, I could go here, I could go there. Where do I want to be? CSU, that's the place. So you make your decision on where you're going to go and you attend school. Voila, after not too long, you graduate, you have a degree, you go out, no doubt, get a job and pay for a few years. Your loan is over. Job well done. So that's the theory on how this is supposed to work. It's actually, in practice, a little more convoluted. So just a reminder that when you fill out a FAFSA, you will be doing that every year. It's not a one-time thing. So you fill that out every year. And every year you'll have a decision to make about your financial aid. Am I taking all of it that they offered me? Am I taking none of it this time? Some of it, what am I doing? So every year you make that decision. You're also, of course, adding to it with your own income or your own savings, your own part-time job. And it may take more than 4 years to go to school. I was on the 6-year plan, and it's just not quite as straightforward as I think people sometimes expect when they're thinking about, I'm going to go to college. So you have this kind of loop until you've completed your college work and you do get that piece of paper, that diploma, and you go out and get a job and start paying your loan back. You may not know this, but you don't pay the government directly. You work with a loan servicer. And there's a limited number of companies that are loan servicers. So you'll make your loan payment to them. And there's a cycle repeated there month after month while you're making your loan payments till the loan is gone. Now, the challenge is that occasionally we have a moment like Mr. Plaid Shirt there. And Plaid Shirt guy is kind of frustrated and something's gone wrong. And he's having trouble making his regular loan payments. So he contacts his loan servicer. They come up with a new plan, and he continues to pay on his loans until they're done. But it wasn't the direct route. It took an extra detour to get there. Plaid shirt moments are very common. Let's just, who counted on a pandemic? Oh my goodness. We get job loss. We get medical injury. We have maybe a military deployment. So there are things that happen in our lives, and we do have those plaid shirt moments where we're looking for alternatives to what was originally set up. So let's talk about the original plan that you come out of when you graduate. What's the expectation? And then the alternatives that they've come up for that. So when you graduate, the standard repayment plan, the default, is that you're going to pay for 10 years. And that is going to result in the minimal amount of interest payments. It reduces the amount of interest you'll pay to repay that loan. But so they figure a 10-year repayment plan and you'll be done. It is possible if you have a larger sum of loans, if you have more than $30,000, you can ask for something called an extended plan. You'd contact your loan servicer and they'll stretch that repayment out to 25 years, which of course drops your monthly payment. It does, however, increase the amount of interest you're going to pay. They have a plan called graduated, and that means that you start with a relatively low monthly payment, and every 2 years, the payment amount increases. The theory being you're moving along in your career, you're getting a raise, you're making more money, so every 2 years you can afford to pay back more money than you were early on. That's a graduated payment. And then consolidations are using blending loans together. And so it's going to depend on all kinds of factors, the kind of loans you're putting together. I just need you to know that that's an option. It exists. It's still a federal loan. But what you're doing is changing up how you're going about repaying the loans that you took out. So again, that was the standard situation. Well, of course, what everybody learned was that there are challenges. We have those plaid shirt moments. So these repayment plans have been around for a long time. This is not a new thing. What is new is on the bottom left, you'll see the SAVE plan. There was an alternative way to repay your loans, and it was called repay. And they have changed that into a new plan called SAVE. But these other programs are still around. There are different reasons why you would choose one or the other. You can see that the length of the repayment varies. In all of these loans, they're going to ask you questions every year about your income and about your family size. And so you can see that different loan repayment plans are based on different personal situations. And you'll notice there's one that's then option for plus loans, which are those parent loans, and that some involve having an amount forgiven at the end. So actually, these payment plans have been around for a long time. Studentaid.gov has the most accurate information, and we are going to dive into that SAVE plan because that's the one that's getting all of the publicity lately. That's the one that's being talked about as the newest, best way to go if you're having trouble with repaying your student loans. So we will get to SAVE, I promise. In the meantime, I want to just point out that those repayment plans, those are long-term. Those are for people who were struggling to make their monthly loan payment. They got into a whole new repayment system, okay? But there were some situations in place, some programs in place that would help if something just was a hiccup. So it might have been that you lost your job, or you had a medical emergency. But these two programs, deferment and forbearance, are for short-term hiccups. You expect to be able to return to your regular loan payment plan, but you're having a momentary challenge. And so when COVID hit, they actually put everybody into that forbearance plan. And and I'm sorry, it was the deferment plan, not the forbearance. It was deferment because interest wasn't accruing, and they just automatically moved everyone into that plan. In the same way, they have automatically moved people into that SAVE plan if for some reason you were in If you were in repay, they've automatically moved you to save. So just a couple things to be aware of there. Let's hop over and talk about a couple very special programs that have also been around for a long time. And these are forgiveness programs. The concept here is that you've graduated and the job you're going into is one that's more of a community service. You're not out there making the big bucks in the private market. You're doing some kind of community job that is benefiting society, and the payment, the income for that job is probably lower. And so there's going to be a reward for you of forgiveness of your loan amounts. Not complete forgiveness, but some forgiveness of the loan amounts. So there's two of them, teacher loan forgiveness, public service loan forgiveness. I'm going to start with teacher loan forgiveness because it's much easier to grasp. It's only 5 years of payments. You pay for 5 years. You have to teach for 5 years in a low-income school. And that's pretty straightforward. You are contributing to society by serving in this low-income school, and in return, a portion of your loan amount is forgiven. Public service loan forgiveness is applicable to more people, but it's also a little more complicated. So in this case, instead of 5 years of repayments, you have to make 10 years of repayments, 120 full payments that are on time, and they had to have started after the date you see on the screen there. The good news is if you were in a job that included public service loan forgiveness during the pandemic, you had 3 years where that were counted. Those payments, even though you weren't making them, those counted toward your 120 full on-time payments. So there are more qualifications, more requirements to receive public service loan forgiveness. The employer that you work for needs to be in the nonprofit or government sector. So there are lots of places you can work that fall into that. Universities, schools, any government, federal government, city government, state government, any of those jobs. If you work for a nonprofit, if you work for Habitat for Humanity, those jobs all are considered qualified employers for the public service loan forgiveness payment plan. So in order to be in these plans, you have to be in what we're going to talk about next, which is those income-driven replacement plans. So you have to be in one of those in order to qualify for these forgiveness programs, but these are still around, still part of the options for you if you're having trouble making payments. I'm going to go backwards just a minute. I'm sorry, so we talked about those public service loan forgiveness program. You have to be in one of these plans in order to receive that credit and that forgiveness using public service loan forgiveness or teacher loan forgiveness. Be sure to throw a question into the comments section if you have anything you need to clarify on that, but those have been around for a while. Okay, so just to clarify, in case you were still hanging on to hope that you have a student loan and it was going to be forgiven, the courts ruled that plan that had been rolled out is not going to be allowed. And so there's no blanket debt forgiveness program that has been allowed. Interest started accruing on your student loans if you had them back in September. Payments were due in October. And again, if you had applied for some kind of forgiveness, those programs simply did not go through. They are not in place. Here's what's going on with this new SAVE plan. It is the newest of the income-driven repayment plans. It's going to do calculations just like the other ones did based on your income and your family size. But for most people, it's going to offer the lowest monthly payment. And that's partly because the way they calculate that, it's based on a smaller portion of your income. As we said, if you were already in repay, you've automatically been moved into SAVE. And the SAVE plan has another strong feature, which is your balance won't grow because any unpaid interest is not going to roll over. Every month when you make your payment, now unpaid interest doesn't keep accruing. So that's a big change. And it is even possible to have a 0 monthly payment. So again, studentaid.gov is going to have all the details about this SAVE plan and how that's working. And then whatever amount is left over after making 20 or 25 years of payments would be eligible for loan forgiveness. So they have also announced that in addition to the plan as it currently has been rolled out, they also are saying that there will be a new information revealed in the summer of 2024. And so we don't really know what that's looking like. We don't know details about that, but that is something to be watching for, is that there's a chance that will be an even bigger improvement to the SAVE repayment plan, and that would be coming in next summer. There's 2 other things that the government has rolled out as a help as people transitioned from 3 years of making no payments during COVID to needing to suddenly start making those payments. So I know you got some warning that it was coming, but the fact is 3 years of not making payments is a transition to get back into making those monthly payments. So they have 2 programs going on. One is called the On-Ramp Initiative, and one is called Fresh Start. You can see the details on the screen. Basically, it has to do with it not impacting your credit if you miss a payment. That's the On-Ramp program. And then the Fresh Start program is if for some reason you were in default, which means you hadn't made payments for 270 days. If you were in default, there's some extra protections and a way to get back on track, a way to get started again into the repayment system. So those, again, 2 programs to help with that transition, knowing that a lot of people were going to struggle going from 3 years of no payments back into a regular payment. We just mentioned that if you were in default, there is this Fresh Start program that you can plug into. You would work with your loan servicer to work out the details on that. Basically, default is considered what happens if you haven't made a payment for 270 days. There are some serious consequences to being in default. So we don't want to scare you, but we do want you to be very aware. Always, if you have a loan and you're having trouble paying it, and whether it's a student loan and you owe the federal government, whether it's a car loan and you owe a bank or a credit union, a credit card and you're struggling with the payments, always talk to your lender. As soon as possible, talk to your lender. In the case of student loans, you're going to want to talk to your loan servicer. And they almost always, lenders have some kind of plan, some kind of program, some way to help you, but you do need to reach out and talk to them. So if you find yourself slipping towards non-payment, please talk to your loan servicer about your federal student loans. If you have private student loans, I'm sorry, none of this applies. You would have to talk directly to the lender. These are private student loans are not going to go through these government programs. We want to give you just a heads up about student this. This is still relatively new going on, that the payments are due. Anytime there's anything new in the financial world, scammers come out. And it's FAFSA time, so there's some scammers about that. Here's some things to be thinking about in the world of student loans and scams or trouble that we want you to avoid. Anytime you're talking about jumping into repayment, this new save program, this kind of thing, scammers are going to be out there. Please be very careful about where you get your information. I'm going to say it again, studentaid.gov. Look there to be sure that you're getting all your facts straight. At this point, student loans still are not part of the bankruptcy process, so you just don't want to be counting on that in the back of your head as an option. One of the things we want to encourage people right away as you're looking at the loans that have been offered to you is, if you don't need it, please don't take it. If they offered you $5,000 and you can get away with $3,000, please don't take the extra money. No matter what those dollar figures are, if you don't need that much, don't take it out as a loan. A great guideline to keep in mind as you're looking at your loan amounts that you're going to take out is if you can keep your overall loan total to less than what you expect your first year pay, your first year income to be. So for instance, if you expect that you're going to have a job in your first year after graduating, that's $40,000, then you should try to keep your student loan amounts total under $40,000. That's a general guideline that's been suggested for many years now by financial experts. Another trend that we are seeing is that there are older folks who are putting their own retirement at risk because they want to help a child or they want to help a grandchild get through school. And it's just a dangerous trend we're seeing. So please, if someone is asking you to help pay for school, please carefully consider if you're going to put your own finances in danger by doing that. And keep in mind that young people have many years ahead of them to repay loans or to earn money to afford school. And your timeline for repayment is shorter. So I don't want to end on that depressing note. We do just want people to be aware that there are some dangers associated with this because it can be a complicated topic. So here are some resources for you. These are broken into different categories. Whether you're researching what kind of salaries you might earn in a particular career, you will see studentaid.gov, I believe, on every single category listed there. And then again, if you were in Weld County, the Bright Futures site is there. If you're considering one of the universities in the West here that has a tuition agreement between universities, that wiki down in the bottom left corner will show you which universities are part of this reduced out-of-state tuition program. Some information about the loans themselves, some websites related to 529 plans. And then if you are experiencing a challenge making student loan payments and you're not comfortable for some reason talking to your loan servicer, and loan servicers have been very busy lately. There were a lot of people contacting their loan servicers. So there's an organization called Green Path, which is a national nonprofit. It's a trusted nonprofit, and they do a lot of different kinds of financial counseling, including having student loan counselors. So we always suggest that you start with your loan servicer to ask specific questions about your situation but GreenPath may be a resource for you as well. That's the end of the official slides. And I'd be happy to have you add some comments, use that comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if you have any questions that came up during the presentation, if you want me to go backwards to a slide. What are your thoughts at this moment?
Awesome. And while we're waiting for a little bit longer to see if anyone has any questions or any thoughts or anything, I just want to give a huge thank you to Nancy. I know if we had a virtual clap feature here, we would all be using it. So thank you, Nancy, for hanging out with us today and talking about such an important question or a topic. And while we wait for the questions to roll in, if we've got any, I did just want to thank you all again for tuning in today. As you can see, I posted a comment in the comment stream there earlier on tonight, and I actually will show it right here on the screen. If you are able to fill out this survey, for those of you who tuned in, as well as those of you watching live, the survey will never expire. So please fill this out for us. We would greatly appreciate your feedback as we are rethinking and redesigning our offerings for you. So let us know what you want to hear about. I know this topic is relevant, so this is a great one to base it off of. And let us know what we can chat about and help you as we design our programming for you.
All right, and either we scared everyone with those all of that information. Heather, good luck with your young student. And there's always a chance to go back and re-watch this recording. If there was something that you were like, no, what was that word? Go back and take a look again. But awesome. We'll hang on just for a second longer. And thanks so much, everybody.
And as we're closing and you're logging off, if you want these slides, we will be sending them out in the post-event email. So keep an eye on your inbox this week, and we'll send out those for you. And Nancy is always available for help or consultations if you want to reach out for some individual work. But all right, well, thank you all again for joining us today. Hope you all have a great Wednesday night, or whenever you are watching this. Hope you have a great time, day, whatever is applicable for you. And we will see you all later. Thank you, and go Rams.
Go Rams.